Hello, let's continue on with the functional unit of the kidney, which is called the nephron. Now, nephron, there's millions of them in a kidney, and they're a bunch of tubules. And each one of them has this little ball or a yarn of wool is what it initially looked like. This little ball of capillaries. So off the artery is this ball of capillaries. Then the blood supply goes to the ball of capillaries, then it goes and wraps around the nephron again. So this ball of capillaries is called a glomerulus, and then it is inside the glomerular capsule. When the filtrate will go into the glomerular capsule and then go through this twisted proximal convoluted tubule. Proximal means close. Then there's the loop of Henle or the nephron loop. And then there's the distal convoluted tubule. There's a really good video following here on the nephron to give you the details. Now, there are three processes we're looking at in terms of the function of the nephron: filtration, reabsorption, and secretion. So filtration is when everything leaves. Now, the kidney is a really bad filter, but it's a really good reabsorber. And think of the way the kidney works or the nephron works sort of like cleaning the fridge. When you go to clean the fridge, you pull everything out, the good things, the bad things. You might leave like the big shelves in or the drawers. So you leave those in, but you pull everything out, good and bad. This is true with the nephron. The blood will pass everything out except the blood cells and the large proteins. So all the good stuff will go into the capsule and then eventually be reabsorbed. So in the process of filtration, because of the pressure, water and solutes are filtered out into the space made by the glomerular capsule. And all this substance is called the filtrate, and it will pass into this renal tubule. So everything that is, except the large things, will go from the tube or the glomerulus into the glomerular capsule. So that's why we say that it's a bad filter, because you've got the filtrate will contain water, salts, all sorts of nutrients, and good and bad. They go into the proximal tubule. Now, reabsorption is the second process, and reabsorption will occur in the convoluted tubule, and it will go from the convoluted tubule back into the peritubular capillary. Let's look at the word. Peri means around. So it is the capillary that goes around the tubule. It isn't shown in this diagram, but it's shown up here with all the blood vessels. So once the filtrate gets to the proximal convoluted tubule, the sodium will be pumped, and in the process of pumping, all these other things will be removed too. So the glucose will leave the filtrate and go back. The amino acids, the smaller proteins, the vitamins, everything will leave the filtrate and go back into the blood supply. And that is called reabsorption. So return of the good stuff exists in the reabsorption. About 2/3 of the filtered salts and waters will reabsorb in the proximal tubule. At the distal tubule, there's something called secretion. And secretion is fine-tuning the blood and putting it back into the filtrate. So that is done using pumping again. And also, this could be under the control of hormones in case you need to control the amount of water or control the amount of calcium. So if we're controlling the amount of water, we can use antidiuretic hormone or aldosterone, as we talked about earlier. And if we're controlling the amount of calcium, That's using parathyroid hormone. Okay, and then it is all regulated by blood pressure, and that will put the good stuff back out of the urine or the filtrate back into the blood. So as I said before, think about the kidney or the nephron, if we're being specific, balancing the blood first, and then the rest goes into the into the urine. So this is an example of how the kidney is a bad filter, but a really good absorber. And then the secretion is fine tuning at the end. Okay. Watch the video that I've got linked in the module called the nephron. Here it is here. This one is, oops, got to move this over. So there we go. This is the good one here, the anatomy and physiology, and then also the function of the nephron. And that will give you the detail you need in order to answer the rest of the questions and give you an idea of how the nephron can filter the waste and then reabsorb the good stuff to help balance the blood. Good. All the best with going through the nephron.